You know how it is these days? You blink and there's some uh, groundbreaking new thing in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it really feels like trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes.
Totally. So how do we cut through all that, the hype, and, figure out what actually matters?
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do right here.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a close look at a bunch of sources, try to pull out the most important, most fascinating bits, all, tailored for you.
Exactly. And today, we're really plunging into the world of artificial intelligence. We've been looking at its history, its current capabilities, which are pretty amazing,
Right.
and, well, what the future might hold, all to give you a clear, engaging picture of the key stuff.
And the goal is really to arm you with understanding, right?
Yeah.
Without getting totally bogged down in like super technical jargon.
Precisely. We want to make it accessible, but still deep.
And believe me, the stuff we've dug up is genuinely, well, mind-bending sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
We're going to touch on the whole debate about AI passing the Turing test. Is it real this time?
Yeah, and the story of DeepMind's AlphaGo, that Go victory was something else.
Totally. And then, bam, ChatGPT shows up.
The phenomenon, yeah, how AI is kind of quietly changing everything, all sorts of industries.
And this weird idea of AI without a body?
The bodiless mind concept. And looking ahead, maybe even, your own personal AI sidekick eventually.
Okay, sounds like a lot to cover. Let's dive in.
All right, let's start with something foundational, something that's been around for ages but is still super relevant, the Turing test.
Ah, yes. Alan Turing, 1950, the imitation game idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He proposed it as a way to see if a machine could basically act intelligent enough to fool a human.
Indistinguishable from a human, yeah.
That's the benchmark.
And it feels like we keep hearing claims, right, that different AIs have now passed modern versions of it.
We do. You hear names like Eugene Gooseman.
Oh, yeah, the one pretending to be a 13-year-old kid.
That's the one, convinced some judges. And more recently, there's been buzz around Google's LaMDA, and of course, OpenAI's ChatGPT-4 maybe hitting that mark too.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. What's the significance?
Well, what's noteworthy about these claims is what they suggest about AI's progress in just mimicking human conversation.
Right, if they can fool us.
If they can really engage in a dialogue that feels human, that's a big step forward in, well, emulating how we interact.
But didn't the Eugene Gooseman thing raise some questions?
It did, yeah, that's a crucial point. What does passing actually mean? Some folks argued its success was more about a cleverly built persona, with believable flaws.
So maybe it's more about sophisticated acting than real smarts.
That's the debate. Is the test really measuring intelligence, or just how good the AI is at putting on a convincing show?
Makes sense. Okay, so shifting gears a bit from just conversation.
Yeah.
The whole AI field really got turbocharged by deep learning, right?
Absolutely. That's central to modern AI, and when you talk about breakthroughs now, DeepMind comes up constantly.
Founded back in 2010, and their goal was pretty huge from the start.
Yeah, ambitious. Build general AI systems. AGI.
And their big moment, AlphaGo, in 2016, that was massive.
Truly groundbreaking. Defeating a world champion, Lee Sedol, in Go?
Which is just insanely complex compared to chess, right?
Oh, vastly. The number of possible moves in Go is astronomical. It was seen as a much, much harder challenge for AI.
Computers beat chess champs way earlier.
Exactly. And the way AlphaGo did it was different, too. It wasn't just pre-programmed rules.
How did it learn then?
It learned by analyzing just massive amounts of game data and, crucially, by playing millions of games against itself. Self-play.
It came up with new strategies, like stuff humans didn't know.
It actually developed completely novel strategies, moves that genuinely surprised top human players.
Wow. And Google snapped them up pretty early, didn't they?
They did. Google acquired DeepMind in 2014, and then just last year, 2023, they merged it with Google Brain.
Forming Google DeepMind, so they're really pushing hard on this.
Doubling down, absolutely. It's a core focus.
It's interesting to contrast that with, say, IBM's Deep Blue beating Kasparov in chess back in '97.
Right. That was a huge landmark, no doubt. But Deep Blue's win was largely down to brute force computation. Just raw processing power, calculating millions of moves.
So AlphaGo showed something different.
A different kind of intelligence, you could say. One that could learn, adapt, maybe even show flickers of intuition or creativity in its moves. More human-like learning.
And then, almost out of the blue for most people, November 2022, ChatGPT.
Yeah, OpenAI launched it, and it just exploded into public consciousness.
Everyone started talking about it, playing with it.
Its ability to generate text that sounds remarkably human and hold surprisingly coherent conversations. It just captured the imagination.
So what's the big picture here, this rapid progress?
Well, it naturally leads to this question. How do we even measure how smart these things are getting?
Right, the AI IQ question.
You hear that term tossed around, but honestly, there isn't like a single universally agreed upon standard for measuring general AI intelligence. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, you can't just give it a Wechsler test or whatever,
Exactly. Though you do see these informal comparisons people make.
like ranking them from an ant to, what, Einstein or beyond.
Sort of, yeah. Placing different models on the spectrum, it's very informal, but it helps people conceptualize it, I guess.
So no standard IQ test.
Yeah.
But how are researchers evaluating them then?
Well, what's happening is they're focusing on evaluating specific capabilities. Things like reasoning ability, how they solve problems, their learning agility.
How fast they pick things up.
Right. And of course, natural language processing, how well they understand and use language like us.
And we see some pretty impressive models out there now.
Definitely. You've got OpenAI's GPT series, Google's got Gemini and Grok, Anthropic has Claude.
And they can do amazing things in specific areas, right? Like writing code, translating, answering really complex questions.
Absolutely stunning performance in certain domains. Text generation, language stuff.
And this feels like a big but they still lack that broader intelligence.
That seems to be the consensus, that they lack that, general common sense reasoning about the world, the kind of flexible adaptability that humans have.
They're specialized geniuses, maybe, but not generalists yet.
That's a good way to put it. And if you zoom out again, what's really striking is just how widely AI is being applied now.
It's not just games and chatbots.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's creeping into practically every field imaginable.
It really is kind of astonishing when you list it out. Like in law.
Yep, legal research, document analysis, reviewing contracts, speeding things up massively.
And medicine. That seems huge.
Huge potential there. Disease diagnosis, helping discover new drugs, personalizing treatments based on genetics, analyzing medical images.
Wow. And it's not just like the super serious stuff either, is it?
Nope. Even things like personal training, AI creating customized fitness plans.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. And think about astrophysics analyzing colossal data sets from telescopes, finding patterns humans might miss.
Leading to new discoveries, potentially.
Exactly. It's even involved in developing algorithms for quantum computing, which is about as cutting edge as it gets.
Okay, that really drives home how versatile it is. It's basically a super-powered information processor.
That's a core aspect, yeah. Even analyzing complex, sometimes sensitive topics like conspiracy theories, though obviously with ethical considerations there.
Right. So AI is getting smarter. It's everywhere. But what's the engine behind it all? It's the learning part, fundamentally.
That's the magic, yes. Machine learning. That's the key that unlocks modern AI's power.
It lets the systems learn from data.
Without needing explicit programming for every single scenario, the algorithms find patterns, make predictions, and crucially, they get better over time with more data.
Learn and improve on their own, sort of.
Get away, yes.
And this whole idea of super smart machines, it's been in our stories forever, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Popular culture is full of it. How many movies have robots trying to take over?
Like hundreds, right? Terminator, The Matrix, I, Robot.
Over 300, apparently. It shows this deep fascination, but also maybe a little bit of anxiety about it all.
Understandably. Which ties into this idea people talk about, the singularity.
The technological singularity, yeah. It's this hypothetical point in the future where AI becomes so advanced.
That it can start improving itself.
Recursively, yes. Improving its own intelligence, which leads to more improvement, potentially creating this exponential explosion in capability.
Oh.
Just think about the speed. An AI like that could potentially learn and process information, maybe absorb all human knowledge, but, well, who knows how fast, compared to how long it takes us, generation after generation.
That is, yeah, mind-boggling is the word. Now, you mentioned quantum computing earlier. That sounds like another futuristic angle.
It is. The potential link between AI and quantum computing is incredibly exciting.
Because quantum computers could be way more powerful.
Theoretically, yes. They could perform calculations far, far beyond what any classical computer, even a supercomputer, can handle today.
There was that rumor, wasn't there? About a quantum computer solving some huge problem really fast.
Yeah, that persistent, though still unverified, rumor. A quantum computer supposedly tackling some profoundly complex question, maybe with multi-trillion-dollar implications, in just minutes.
Wow. If that kind of power becomes real, what does it mean for AI?
Well, that sheer processing muscle could just unlock totally new levels for AI. We could potentially build AI models with complexity and problem-solving abilities we can barely even imagine right now.
So maybe a future of humans and super AIs powered by quantum computers working together.
That's one potential vision, tackling challenges in science, medicine, climate change, things that seem utterly insurmountable today.
It feels like we're seeing AI move out of the lab and, into our actual lives more and more.
Absolutely. It's already happening in our homes across
Like
industries.
virtual assistants, right? Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant.
Yep. And AI monitoring health data from wearables. And automation in factories, think Tesla's gigafactories or Amazon's warehouses.
Robots and AI working together.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is the potential benefit for basically everyone.
How so?
Well, think about it. The old, the young, people who are sick, people who are healthy. AI could offer companionship, help with daily tasks, provide super personalized education, support people with disabilities.
Making knowledge more accessible, tailored to individuals.
Right, democratizing expertise in a way.
And it seems like the real power isn't necessarily tied to a physical robot body anymore.
That's a really key observation. More and more, the intelligence, the power is in the software.
Integrated into our phones or computers.
Exactly. We're seeing smarter AI built into the devices we already use.
People even try to categorize them, right? Like I heard someone call the latest Siri Gen 5, but dialed down.
Yeah, these informal labels pop up, trying to grasp the levels. That spectrum idea, again, quantum being human ant. It helps frame the discussion.
And there's research distinguishing between like genius level AI and maybe something even beyond Mesa level.
Right, exploring these hypothetical upper tiers of intelligence.
So are we really heading towards having these super smart personal AI assistants just living on our phones?
It certain looks like that's the trajectory, maybe even more capable than a physical robot for many day-to-day things.
It's weird to think about AI processing text at thousands of words a second, but having no real sense of time like we do.
Their perception, or lack thereof, is fundamentally different. There was even that funny, well, maybe not funny, case of a chess AI getting accused of cheating somehow.
Huh, really? How does an AI even cheat?
It highlights the weird new ethical corners we're turning, right?
Definitely. But back to the personal AI assistant idea.
Hmm.
That's compelling.
Imagine the convenience, right? Your AI handles your calls, maybe uses whatever voice you want it to.
Real-time translation on the fly.
Seamlessly, adapting to who you're talking to. Think about how much less frustrating dealing with, say, call centers could be.
Oh man, that alone would be worth it. Like having a super efficient coordinator for everything.
Your personal think tank coordinator, yeah. And, some people even speculate, could you form a real bond with your AI?
Like love and AI.
Well, maybe a deep attachment. They draw parallels to how dogs trigger oxytocin release in us. Could something similar happen with a sufficiently advanced, personalized AI?
That's a thought. It reminds me of KITT from Knight Rider.
Ah, good old KIT.
Didn't he go through like 13 different versions or upgrades in the show?
Something like that, yeah. It really shows how long we've been fascinated by the idea of intelligent machines as partners, companions.
So where does this all leave us? This quest continues.
Absolutely. The journey to unlock AI's full potential is ongoing. The chase for artificial general intelligence, maybe even that technological singularity, it's still very much on.
And who knows, maybe it'll be one person, one brilliant insight that finally cracks the code for truly self-aware AI.
It's conceivable a single breakthrough could change everything.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
we've covered a ton of ground.
We really have. From the very beginnings with the Turing test through deep learning, AlphaGo.
ChatGPT, all the applications everywhere.
And these, really exciting, maybe slightly unnerving future possibilities.
And hopefully, for you listening, there were some real aha moments in there as we went through the sources.
Uncovering some surprising facts, some things to chew on.
So here's our final thought, something for you to mull over. Looking back at all this rapid progress, what future AI stuff do you find most compelling? Or maybe most concerning?
Yeah, and as this all keeps evolving so fast, what role do you see AI playing in your own life down the road?
Definitely something to think about. It's a story that's far from over.